Time for you to sit down and allow the powers that be to penetrate your thoughts. It's now time for Pancho, the Crystal Skull Hour here on JJLN Radio with your host, Mario.
Considered an anomaly by modern scholars and scientists, the crystal skulls have penetrated the human imagination for many years. Several crystal skulls that have been discovered are in many places, including on display in museums, in the possession of private collectors, and some are traveling the world with energy healers and psychics. Recently, another crystal skull has surfaced. This skull has its origins in southern Mexico, but many believe that it came from Atlantis, or even perhaps from a faraway galaxy. His name is Pancho, and he is called the New Generation Crystal Skull. Many people who have met Pancho talk about how happy he is, and how good they feel when they are around him. Others talk about information they receive from him, and almost everybody feels the strong, positive energy that he emits. Whether you're listening to this show out of curiosity about the legend of the 13 crystal skulls and the Mayan prophecy of 2012, or you are seeking more information about the psychic and metaphysical aspect of crystal skulls, or you are just intrigued by Pancho and would like to get to know him better, we are very glad that you are here. Pancho, a crystal skull, was found many years ago in an archaeological site in southern Mexico. The location where he said he was from was once inhabited by the Zapotec civilization. The Zapotec civilization was an indigenous pre-Columbian civilization that flourished in the valley of Oaxaca in southern Mexico. Archaeological evidence shows their culture goes back at least 2,500 years. They left archaeological evidence at the ancient city of Monte Alban in the form of buildings, ball courts, magnificent tombs, and grave goods, including finely worked gold jewelry. Monte Alban was one of the first major cities in Mesoamerica and the center of a Zapotec state that dominated much of what we now know as the current state of Oaxaca. In the native Nahuatl language, Zapotec means people of the clouds. In the early 1960s, my grandparents started a tour company to bring tourists to the ancient sites in Mexico. In one of their visits to Monte Alban, they were approached by a mysterious man who had in his possession a beautiful skull carved from pure quartz crystal. The skull was hollow, about 10 inches tall, and weighed nearly 15 pounds. They were fascinated by the piece. He revealed to them that the skull had been found at this sacred site of the Zapoteca, and that he wanted the family to have the skull as a tribute to everything they had done to promote and help the indigenous people of the area. He also bestowed to them other pieces made out of precious stones. For many years, the crystal skull was kept in the private home of my family. After the death of my grandmother in September of 2009, I was given the skull. My name is Mario, and I live in Las Vegas. I have dedicated myself to sharing Pancho with others. His first communication to me was that he wants to be revealed and he wants to be exposed. So I now welcome you to the Pancho Crystal Skull Hour. Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining me today to our premiere show of the Pancho Crystal Skull Hour. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the delay. Many of you were told that we were going to begin at 12 noon today, Pacific Standard Time. Due to some difficulties, we had to postpone it a little bit, but we are here now live. I'm here sitting next to Kendall Ray Morgan. Kendall Ray Morgan is my first guest, and I just appreciate that you're here today, Kendall, with us. Thank you so much. Kendall is a crystal skull researcher. And could you explain to me a little bit what a crystal skull researcher is all about?
Well, let me first say, Mario, thank you so much. This is a great honor. I'm so grateful to be here today on your premiere showing with Pancho. My past experience in working with archaeology as an amateur archaeologist in Mexico and South America, United States, southern Arizona, primarily was working with cultural artifacts. And in the research of the crystal skulls, it's for the last 2 years, this information has come on quite strong to work with these ancient artifacts, cultural artifacts, and people like yourself, the guardians who have been bestowed these artifacts, and information seems to be flowing from these artifacts now.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of information and how is that information pertinent to like the average Joe, just a person just, driving his car down the highway or just, walking in the street? What we hear a lot about information. What's that information all about? What has your research told you about that?
My particular research primarily goes pretty deep.
Okay.
Okay.
When we're talking about crystal skulls, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and so my current thinking process is along the lines of that we have what's called individual consciousness. Mm-hmm. We have what's known as collective consciousness. Right. And within the collective consciousness and attaining super consciousness, we have different so-called programs that are running for each one of us in our individual lives, and the primarily tied to what I believe to be our soul.
Okay.
And the advancement of our soul. Mm-hmm. And the cultural artifacts tie in with the earth.
Okay.
And the information from these cultural artifacts, the quartz, mm-hmm. and other minerals that can store that information through time. And so to me, it's more of a software program that's running, and that's how I pertain to that.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the crystal skulls. And I did a little bit of research on you, and I spoke with you a couple of weeks ago. We actually contacted each other through Facebook, which I thought was really kind of cool, And what I researched about you is that you actually have worked with a lot of the guardians and with a lot of the skulls. I know people are very interested in like the Mitchell Hedges skull, Max, the Texas skull, and all those skulls and their guardians. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've done in the last couple of years and how you work with them?
Sure. Primarily, back in the year 2009. Mm-hmm. I was residing in Tucson, Arizona. Mm-hmm. I was starting to get information that was coming to me, more or less, just information started to fill my mind about 9 crystal skulls.
About 9 crystal skulls.
9 crystal skulls. And at that time, I didn't know really 9 crystal skulls. Mm-hmm. And so what was coming, though, was there needed to be an event take place with these 9 crystal skulls. And the dates that were coming to my mind were 999. Mm-hmm. So I had done a little research, and I contacted another person in Tucson, and she became my partner in what became the 090909 World Mysteries Conference. Mm-hmm. Crystal Skulls World Mysteries Conference in Tempe, Arizona.
Okay.
We brought in basically the 9 ancient crystal skulls to come together, and working with those guardians to bring those in. We basically were told we needed to set up a venue for that to take place. And we had a very successful event. We brought in at that time one of the Mayan elders, Humbat's man from the Yucatan. And so there seems to be an evolution that takes place with this. We were basically given information in our thought processes that we were told to do 4 events. The 9-9-9, the 10-10-10, the 11-11-11, and the 12-12-12.
Okay. And these 9 that attended, could you tell us who they were?
Off the top of my head, basically we had Michelle Nasarino, the daughter of the late pioneer of crystal skulls, Fr. Nick Nasarino, and she brought in a ancient crystal skull called Shana Ra, very famous crystal skull.
Right.
We had Dale Walker. Dale Walker's out of California. He has a very interesting crystal skull called Rainbow.
Right, I've seen Rainbow, pictures of Rainbow.
Yeah, and he has 2 other, what he considers ancient crystal skulls, which is Czar, and another one called Madre.
Okay.
We had Jane Dougherty out of New Jersey, and so primarily we had quite a list of.
You had quite an impressive list of crystal skulls, because so many people are interested in the coming together of the crystal skulls and the legend of the 13.
Yes.
So you, from talking to you, you actually feel like you have a calling to bring those all 13 together. Is that correct?
Primarily, I see my work as to work with the guardians.
Okay.
And to assemble the ancient crystal skulls.
Okay. And in this you're having an upcoming event in New York. Is that correct?
Yes, on 10-10-10 in New York City, we have an event called The Legend of the 13 Crystal Skulls.
Excellent. Well, we're going to be talking a little bit more to you about the crystal skulls and especially about this event in New York City, which I think is going to be really amazing. And we're very excited that you're here, and we're very excited with the knowledge and the information that you're giving us.
Thank you.
In our next segment, we are going to be talking a little bit more about ancient and what ancient means. I really want to get a little bit more into that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And we're just very happy that you're here.